In this week's Outdoor Icon Show, we're at Birds in Flight Sanctuary, learning about rehabilitating hawks, owls, and kestrels. Stay tuned, we got a great show in store for you.
Hey Den, we're over here at Dick's Sporting Goods out in Niles, Ohio in the Eastwood Mall complex, and I tell you, there's some hot deals. I went and took a look at my little condo ladder stand I just purchased. Unbelievable deals out here. You can't beat the money savings that you have going out here in Niles.
Well, Rob, they got guns $10, $20, and $50 off. Like you said, the tree stands is a fantastic buy. I got to pick a few of those up for the fall hunt this year.
Yep.
And I'm going to look at the deer cameras and some of the archery targets too. So later today, when you and I head out after the show and we sight our bows in, we've got the equipment ready to do so.
Absolutely. We're going to check on those food plots, make sure there's some little germination going. The Christmas is in the air. We can tell it's coming.
I can smell that hunting season right around the corner.
No doubt.
Today's show, we're going to show some rehabilitation of hawks and owls and different types of raptors. And Heather's a volunteer. She has a staff of volunteers out at her place in Northeast Ohio. And they bring in all the injured and crippled hawks and owls and abandoned ones. They try to rehab them back to flight. If they don't make it, you know, it's Mother Nature's way. But she does a real good job giving them a fighting chance to be re-released back into the wild.
Yeah, so we got a great show. Also, we got Cooking with Crystal segment. We're gonna have a great venison recipe. So keep your pen and paper handy.
And don't forget our tip of the week.
Tip of the week. Always got a good tip of the week here.
Well, Rob, I'm gonna head this way and check out the sales. You head that way. Call me on the cell phone if you find anything that's really a good buy.
Sounds like a good plan.
I'm ready to spend some money in anticipation of the fall hunting season.
Let's do it up.
Let's do it. We're out here today in Trumbull County with a wild raptor rehabilitator, Heather Merritt, from Birds in Flight Sanctuary. Heather, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, people always wonder, especially during the spring, they find all kind of baby animals, they find injured animals, they find animals that might be caught in unpredictable circumstances. And Heather is the person, when they make that phone call, that'll go out and rescue these animals, especially if it's dealing with birds.
Yeah.
And you have quite a large selection out here that we've noticed. You're federally licensed, state licensed, legal to handle these birds.
Yes.
Usually you can't handle, especially birds of prey. You can't touch. Can't even own a feather.
Well, she just gave me a look. I tried touching it. You know, it's just natural. You know, natural thing you want to touch or pet something, and you know, I got to watch because this is still a wild bird here.
That's right.
The bird can probably poke your eyes out, right then.
What do we have here, Heather? What are you holding in your hand, right?
This is a barred owl, B-A-R-R-E-D. A lot of people confuse them with the barn owl, which the barn owls are all white. These are very common. Usually, if you hear an owl during the day, this would be it.
This would be the
one. These are the ones for the hunters out there.
Yeah, the turkey hunters.
When they're trying to get that turkey to gobble and they do the who cooks for you, who cooks for you too thing.
No,
these are the guys. These are the guys that that make that sound, and you do hear them in the morning. You hear them in the evening. Just awesome predators. Awesome predators.
Now, Heather, typically, where are these owls found at? I mean, are they, you know, in big pine trees, big trees, oaks? You know, what are they usually found?
They're going to be in an old forest. They're going to be like woods right back here.
Okay.
If I walk out at night, I'll hear 5 or 6 right in my backyard.
Oh, really?
Just because he's called them in half the time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what's a typical diet for a barred owl?
The barred owls are going to eat a lot of mice. They'll eat some frog, a little bit, salamanders, snake. Not too much of a feather bird, though.
And these are awful silent when they fly, too,
They're
right?
very silent because of the edge of their feathers. You can't really see it too much, but there's like a comb that breaks up the air. So whenever they're flying, all the air breaks up so they don't have any sound, and plus the feathers on their feet break up all the sound.
And now, is this owl typically always hunting at night then, and specifically hunting at night?
Right now, we're having bad weather.
Yeah.
You know, they still have babies. You can hear the babies in the background still crying for food.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to get a chance just like this in the break in the weather, and they're going to go out and hunt. They're not going to let their babies starve for too long. And they're going to go hunting at any time.
So that'd be on an overcast day, as long as there's not a lot of hot sun shining in.
Right.
They're gonna go look for an opportunity to find some food.
Absolutely.
Well, now, typically, too, Rob, in our viewing area, the barred owls are going to be the most common ones you're going to find. They're this size right here. There's also the great horned owls, which are much bigger, and they're the ones that have the tufts, kind of like the...
they got the horns.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Tootsie Roll owl,
Yeah.
or woodsy owl. And then there's also the screech owls, which are little.
Okay.
They're real tiny, and they can be either brown or gray or shades of red. And that's all sounds you hear at night. You wouldn't typically know what they are because you can't see them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are owls.
The woman being murdered is the screech owl.
The screech owl.
And they're
okay.
about the size of the barred owl's head.
Okay.
So people always go looking for them. They say they can't find them. That's why,
Wow.
because they're really tiny and you can't see them.
Now, are these barred owls, do they eat and pounce on the ground and then take it up to
And
the
then
tree,
take
or
it up-
just they
No,
stay
they'll-
underground?
They'll take it right back up into the tree. They're not going to stay
Anywhere on the
right
ground.
right on the ground, because there's too many predators that'll gobble them up.
Now, why do most owls have, they seem to have that full front face there and almost like discs for, is it supposed to hear, like they can hear their prey more or something like that?
Actually,
heard
their
something
ears
like that
are a
before.
lot like ours,
Okay.
except the back part of our ear is actually in the front and theirs move, so they can actually hear. They'll turn their head until they can hear exactly where it's at,
And then they pinpoint it.
and they pinpoint it. If you throw a pin up in the middle of the room,
Yeah.
they will know exactly where it's at. Where you would have to throw it up 100 times for a human to find
Right.
it.
Wow, that's something else.
Eyesight's great. Hearing's
Yeah.
even better, and these things are stealthy killers.
Okay. Well,
Stealthy
that's good
Now, what's
stuff here.
in the future for this guy?
This one we use for education because it's an imprint. It thinks it's a human, and if we would release him, he would pick one person that he liked, and he would try and kill everybody else around him. Just like they would in the wild. Once they choose a mate, all the other owls have to go, except this one doesn't know he's an owl anymore, and he's chose people.
Oh, yeah?
So he'll be used for education, educate people on what to do and what not to do if they come across owls. Now, what are the other options when you rehab an animal here? When you bring an animal into birds in flight, what are your choices?
Well, we do surgery, we do all medical things that we need to be done for a bird to be released back out into the wild again.
But if they're terminal, you know when to pull the plug, and that animal's got to go down. They're-
Absolutely. We don't have any problem doing that here.
Right, and a majority of them, I would understand, probably are going to meet the fate that way.
Yeah.
Well, realistically, 80% don't make it through their first year. Out of that, 40% don't make it through the second year. So you're
Wow.
looking at a lot of birds that never make it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're
Well,
doing a
very
great
interesting.
job out here, Heather.
Let's
you.
move on to another
Yep.
type of animal, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
This Outdoor Icon Show factoid is brought to you by First Metropolitan Mortgage. Stay tuned, the Outdoor Icon will be right back.